All right, so today we're going to be talking more about letters, okay? So we've been talking a lot about how to respond to a letter, okay, what to include in a letter, and the format of a letter. Okay, tomorrow you guys are going to respond to a question that Mrs. Hollingsworth and myself give you, okay? And you have to respond in a letter format. So we've talked a lot about letters, a lot, okay? So we're going to review what we've learned, okay? So do you guys see this letter right here, right? It says, this is an old one. Okay, we've responded to this one. Okay, we've done this one before. Okay, but I'm going to read it again for you. It says, 9/30/2020. Dear class, when I read the book Saturdays and Tea Cakes by Lester Laminack, I thought that the way the author described the things made the story seem real. For example, when the main character was mixing dough, he said it smelled like fresh cotton candy at the county fair, page 19. When Mama opened the oven door, the kitchen filled with a smell sweeter than summer hardinas, page 23. My grandmother always baked, and I remember how good her kitchen smelled. This story was special for me because it reminded me of my grandmother. Like the boy in the story, I lived in a small town, and I visited my grandmother in the countryside. Like Mama, my grandmother loved to bake. Whenever I visited, she always had something sweet waiting for me. Reading this story reminded me of how special those visits were. I think the author is trying to show how wonderful it is to spend time with those we love. What do you think about when we read this story together? Okay, your teacher, Mrs. Sackett or Mrs. Hollingsworth. Okay, so what are some things that we included in here? Okay, the first thing that we included in this writing is what? The date. Okay, so did I include the date, a heading, a greeting, and what else? Piper? What? Yeah, I added the title, but look at this first one that I'm talking about. Greeting, date. What's my closing?
Your signature.
Yeah, it's my signature. So a closing and a body. Okay, and you're like, Mrs. Sackett, what's the body? Well, that's everything that you have written here. Okay? That's your response. That's your body. Okay? The other question that I want you to ask yourself, okay, did I include the title and author of the book? So did I include the title and author of the book? Okay, so did you include the date, the greeting, the closing, and body? And did you include the title and author of the book? Okay, what's the next thing? Lily?
I forgot to put the ending your name.
No. Did I share my thinking? So, your thoughts. Did you share your thoughts? Okay, in this writing, okay, this story was special to me because it reminded me of my grandma. That's my thinking. Okay, Whenever I visited my grandma, there was always something sweet. That's from my experience, right? So, did we provide evidence? Did we provide evidence in this one? Okay, someone give me an example. Someone give me an example of the evidence that I provided. Piper? Yeah. Filled the air, or filled with a sweet, I cannot read today, class. Filled with a smell sweeter than summer, okay? That was in the text, in page 23. All right? Ahmed? Yeah, that was on page 19. I pulled that from the text. That is my evidence, right? Now, did I respond to a question on this one? No, but sometimes we will, okay? So I'm going to put, did I respond to a question? But on this one, we didn't have to. But on some of them, you might, okay? So, did I respond to a question? Okay. Lastly, what are my last two? Make sentence. Yes. So, did I make sense? Okay, we talked about that yesterday. Does your writing make sense and how you can help it make sense? And lastly, what's the most important thing you can do, Honor? Yeah, stay on one topic. But what's my last thing right here on the board, Belle? So did I use conventions? Okay, did you use conventions? When you are writing this tomorrow, I'm going to hang this up in the classroom so you can check and make sure you're doing all of these things. So if you're writing and you're like, oh no, Mrs. Tackett, I did not provide evidence. Well, then you need to go back and look in the text for your evidence. Okay? We're going to use this as a checklist for you guys. Okay? I'm going to hang it up over here so you can always refer to it. These are the things I want to see in your letters. Okay? Are there any questions about this? No? All right. So now what I would like for you to do is start read to self.